I have a question for you. Do you step on one of these? It's a traditional bathroom scale. And if you do step on one, do you step on it every day? Do you step on it once a week? Do you step on it once a month? Or do you never step on a scale at all? And then you're sometimes subjected to having to step on a scale at your doctor's office. That's what happens to all of us at some point in time. There are people that have said, I'm never weighing myself ever again. There are people that live and die by the scale every single day. It's very controversial. We have a whole world of people that are like, I don't want to be defined by my body weight, my size, my shape, whatever. That's really the conversation that I have all the time with people on what I call going beyond the scale. And it's a big subject, even though this is like a very simple thing. Quite frankly, it's caused millions of people to go crazy every day, week, month, year, whatever. It's something that has been haunting lots of us that have been challenged with our weight from when we were very little. And the funny part is actually whether you think about it or not, even if you say I don't weigh myself anymore, chances are 99.9% of all the people that are in developed countries were weighed at birth. It's like that thing that we get weighed at birth. We're measured to our length, but I don't know anybody that really remembers their length. But if you ask people, many people will be able to tell you what they weighed at birth. And there's usually a whole big long story that goes along with it. So today's episode of Going Beyond the Scale was produced where I wanted to kind of dramatically show you guys what I think about when I think about the idea of going beyond the scale, what I'm committed to do. What you're going to see in my podcast are that they're really unscripted. I'm not producing them with lots of music. I'm not trying to, make them special because life is not that way. We don't have music in the background. We might be playing music in our ears, whatever, but we don't have music running our lives. We don't have scripts of our lives. A lot of what our life is just unscripted. So I used to try to create podcasts that I thought these will be well produced. They'll be better. I need to have a certain kind of piece of music in there. And I found that it was just driving me crazy because it's not natural for me. It's not authentic for me. So this video, what you're going to see is when I went to the Biggest Loser Ranch, where I spent almost 8 months of my life going through a major mental and physical transformation. And it's been over a decade later that I've continued to live my life off the ranch. But I wanted to go back there and I wanted to be able to capture what I felt was something that I was living and dying by while I was on the show of being connected to the scale, because every single week, depending on what we weighed in at, would determine whether we got to stay there, whether we had to go home or not. But after the show, as I navigated people and supported people and then started moving beyond a bathroom scale and moving into the world of body composition, which I know is a major game changer and something that I continue to talk about, I wanted to be able to demonstrate kind of dramatically why I want people to get rid of their bathroom scale. And if you want to, quote unquote, weigh yourself, measure yourself, look at how you're tracking your body composition, your shape, your size, for whatever personal reasons, medical reasons, whatever that is, I wanted people to start to think about that in a different way. And that's what my work is. That's what I do when I am looking to interview people wherever they are on their journey with their weight and their well-being, if I'm talking to subject matter experts. So this video, I'm very proud of it because it's totally unscripted. There's no film crew. I didn't write anything down. I just literally took my iPhone and I went and I did something while I was on the ranch and I captured what I think is really the essence of what I experienced and what the essence of what I'm asking people to do as a first step as I continue this journey to share what I'm calling going beyond the scale. And it's more than just measuring something. It's what's in your head. It's the way that you're thinking about it. It's what's gone in the past of your thoughts, what you're doing in the present, and how you're creating a compelling future about your health and well-being. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Love to hear your thoughts. Please share your comments if this did something for you, if it stirred something up for you. I don't care what it is. Whatever that is, let me know, because I'd love to be able to hear your thoughts around this. And I'm not going away. I am going to be in this conversation deep and wide and all over the place to try to find out what's this going on in people's head. What are they doing? And like I said, after you see this, please, if you have a bathroom scale, get rid of it, smash it, run over it, throw it in the trash, do something. And if you want to weigh and measure yourself, find a really good body composition scale and join me at goingbeyondthescale.com if you want to join in the conversation, if you want to join the community, if you want to learn more. That's where I will be. So thanks for being here. I hope you watch it. Also, the other thing I want to mention to you, in addition to my podcast, I also produce this as a video, and I also produce it as a blog post. The reason being is because I've found that, at least for myself, and I find this for other people, when you watch something is very different than when you listen to something, and also when you read something. So even though the content is similar for my podcast, my YouTube video, and also my blog post, they're all slightly different. And I know for myself, if there's something I'm really trying to absorb and learn, I actually will, like when I do books, I will buy a book, read the book, highlight the hell out of the book. I will also buy the audio of it and I will listen to it. And then like exercise, if something I think is really going to help support me in whatever I want to do, I will go back and reread, I will re-listen, because I think it's like your brain is no different than being a muscle. It needs to be exercised time and time again. So, okay, like I said, this isn't scripted. This is a big lead up to this shorter video that's behind this shorter podcast that's behind it. But I'm just passionate about it. I just hope this is something that stirs something up for you. And like I said, please, I'd love to hear what you're thinking about this. So let's get on with this. Take a watch, take a listen, or read it. Well, today is my last day on the ranch. It's been an amazing time to be able to kind of go back and reflect on what I learned over the past 10 years from the first time I stepped on this ranch. And today is really a starting line for the next 10 years of my life. And if you've been following anything that I've been doing, it's really what I really call my life's work at this point in time, what I can see for the near future and the distant future. And that's it over the next 10 years, 20 years, however many years I have here, hopefully many. I really want to be able to concentrate on what I call inspiring people to think about a whole new way of looking at their health and well-being, what I call going beyond the scale. And ironically, that probably seems very strange considering I lived and died by the scale on Biggest Loser. All of us that were contestants lived and died by the scale every week. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people are living and dying by the scale. And let's face it, millions of us have had challenges with our weight. And you don't have to just be morbidly obese like I was at a top weight of 435 pounds, or when I started on Biggest Loser, 400 pounds, to be challenged by it. And I think what happens is we're not really understanding it. We're not looking at the things that really are important. It's important to measure things. It's important to have an understanding about whether it's your cholesterol or your blood pressure or what you weigh, but not what you weigh as defining who you are and whether you're healthy or not, because the number on a scale doesn't do that. What will help is if you start to understand body composition. And even with that, understand the numbers are just numbers. You need to understand what those numbers mean for your metabolism, your own personal DNA, your own blueprint. Yesterday when I spent time with Dr. Huizenga, I got a good chance to understand where I am today, technically 11 years after the first time I laid down and got a DEXA scan. But 10 years yesterday was how long it was from our finale. So I've been able to traverse 10 years later, what I would call doing a pretty good job of keeping my weight in a very strong maintenance mode. And yet there are things that I am confused by, things I don't understand. It's really not the calories in, calories out issues. It's really the metabolic things that are determining my health and well-being. And I am determined to continue to be a student of that. I'm never going to be somebody that's trying to understand all the things that have to do with nutrition and metabolic syndrome or insulin resistance or any of that stuff. I don't need to. There's plenty of people. There's scientists, there's doctors, there's people, there's subject matter experts, there's trainers, there's nutritionists. Everybody has a role that they can play in it. My role, for the most part, what I'm kind of self-selecting is saying I want to be a catalyst for a conversation for people, each and every individual that's interested, to start to explore and think about their body composition. Like what I said, what is it as far as living beyond the scale, the number on a bathroom scale? So the first thing I'm going to do is say, if you have a bathroom scale, I would just say get rid of it. It's not helping you. It's basically mentally torturing you. And it's not a good measure of whether or not you're quote unquote forget successful. It's not a measure of whether or not you're getting someplace that's going to help your health and well-being. I would suggest that you look into and understand and find a good quality body composition scale if you want to make a difference in your health and well-being. I'm not saying what those numbers are, what they should be. That's a personal choice. There's plenty of information that's out there. I will be somebody that will be connecting you to that if that's something that you're interested in. And like if you have an Apple Watch, you have a Fitbit, or you have anything that you're tracking, they're a point of reference. They are not literally meant to be a hammer to beat the hell out of yourself with if you're struggling. And I will tell you that it's not just whether it's your age or you're male or female or whatever. There's stressors, there's seasons of life, there's all kinds of things that determine our health and well-being. So going beyond the scale, my North Star approach to it is what I call living the life that you love and living it well. It's both of those parts. It's a dance of those parts. And I'm going to continue to daily explore and share what I'm learning. So, in the spirit of moving beyond the scale, I am actually here right now on where the footprint was for the Biggest Loser gym. The place where we first stood on the scale, the place in which I will tell you, being a contestant, every time we would walk up to where the gym was at night, it was just because I guess it was more dramatic or whatever, you always had a pit in your stomach because you knew, unlike your bathroom scale, that night could be the night that you got sent home. And if you were lucky enough to make it this far on Biggest Loser and become a contestant, once you got here, you didn't want to go home. You wanted to stay there. You wanted to keep learning. You wanted to be in the midst of others that were in the same kind of boat you were, same kind of mindset. So we hated whenever we got eliminated and went home because we felt like we were going back to where we were before, back to the old environment of why we or how we got where we were. So we lived and died by the scale every single week, and it was stressful to say the least. So the gym's gone. Primarily everything about Biggest Loser that we all knew if you watch the show from seasons like 5 through 17, it's not here anymore. The dorm's still here. The dorms looks great. They've made some changes. They put the kitchen back to the way it was before Biggest Loser was here. The mountains are obviously still the same. I don't know what happened up there on Inspiration Point. When I was up there the other day with Gary Deckman, he and I were up there at the top. There used to be a tree. I don't know what happened to the tree. The tree's gone. Such is life. Things happen. Things go away. So, with all that being said, I have brought from New Jersey my friend Gloria and our producer of Going Beyond the Scale podcast and a lot of other things. She gave me one of her bathroom scales. And I brought it out here. It was funny because when I knew it was going to get checked in with TSA, it was going to be an issue. I brought a piece of 1 pound My Pet Fat, which looks like a silicone bomb, and the scale, and that stopped me for a while, slowed me down in TSA. But I brought the scale all the way out here because I knew that I wanted to create a visual reference for myself and for others, the idea of like letting go of the past way in which you looked at the scale as being some determinant of your success for your well-being. It's not. It sucks. It doesn't help you. Bathroom scales suck. They are horrible. They don't work to what you want to know, especially when you consider we're 50 to 60% water in any given day, hormones, stressors, women having their period, salty foods, inflammation, you name it. The scale's squirrely because that's not the important thing. It is over time, what is your body composition doing? How are you growing lean muscle mass? How are you deciding if you want to get rid of some body fat? Not just feeling great because you lost 7 to 10 pounds in a week, which quite frankly, usually, almost always is water weight. Your body's 50 to 60% water, it's water weight. So the Rangers were very helpful. I didn't bring a hammer or sledgehammer with me, but they gave me one. So I have a sledgehammer. And I'm going to bring this hammer with me. And I don't have a film crew today. I'm the film crew. So I don't know how the hell this is going to work. But if you look, I have placed a common bathroom scale where I think sort of the big scale that you saw on TV was always, I think so. You know, it was always a beautiful view out the back, a little bit that you could see. But there's the scale. Classic scale. This one actually, it shows the 280, but it says on there it goes to 350 pounds. The dreaded thing that we all like would stand on and fingers crossed, two things would happen. We hope it would drop. And sometimes when it dropped, that was great. And then it wasn't great because sometimes, I don't know about you, but what happened with me is like, okay, I lost some weight. I should reward myself. I'll have something to eat. So it's this weird ass dance back and forth between saying you want to lose weight and then you do, and then you're kind of like, well, I've done good, so let me reward myself. And then you go back and forth. Then you reward yourself. Then all of a sudden, maybe you were doing things again and the scale didn't move. But you didn't really know if it moved in the terms of losing body fat and gaining muscle mass. All you knew was this thing was moving and it was driving you crazy. And if you can tell me that you love a bathroom scale, please let me know, because I don't really know anybody that does. It's a dreaded thing. So I am committed to knock out the old mindset that we all have had about a body's composition that we don't understand, and then knock out the idea of a scale, a bathroom scale, which really has screwed up, I believe, millions of people all over the world, because it just doesn't, it's not accurate. Trust me, if our bank accounts were like the bathroom scale, we'd go nuts. Imagine every time you went to the ATM and you thought you had money, and then it's like, I did, and then I don't, I did, I don't. That's what it is. It's like this yo-yo that goes on that drives people crazy. So, in the spirit of letting go of the bathroom scale, join me in basically crushing this and moving on and starting to think about our whole new way of the way we could look at for our body composition. And I'll talk more about that, but let's take a look at this. Here we go. This sucker's pretty tough. Okay, I think we got it. I think you got the point. Wow, I really want to thank you for staying to the end of the episode. It's always my intention, as best as I can, for you to get something from each of these episodes. And also, hopefully what you've heard maybe in what was shared is something that's there for people that you care about in your life as well. Also, if you'll remember, each of these episodes is produced as a YouTube video or a podcast or a blog post. So I'm not sure which way you're getting the information today, but what I want you to know is that if you go to goingbeyondthescale.com, you can find how this same episode was produced in those other formats. And the reason why I do that is because sometimes people will get what they need in a different format, sometimes by watching something, sometimes by listening to something, sometimes by reading. In each of those formats, I sometimes add a little bit of an extra emphasis in there. There's a way that when you listen to something, there's something that can be added to that. Sometimes when you watch something, there might be something that comes onto the screen or a special clip that gets added to that. And then typically when I do the transcript, that's how I do the blog posting. I take the transcript from either the podcast or the video. But I always, when you go from speaking something, it's always different when you translate it into writing. So I make sure that I add to that. I make it more so it's easier to read. And whenever I do that, there's always, quite frankly, to be honest, there's a lot more robust content that comes out of the blog postings. So take a look at it. Like I said, go to goingbeyondthescale.com. Love you to join us there. We also have a Facebook community that you can join as well. And most important, besides just watching, I'd love it if you join in the conversation. It's helpful if you share what you're learning, what's triggering things for you, what you agree with, what you disagree with. This is not meant to be where everybody's going to be agreeing. This is going to be a very open, robust, probably sometimes a wild conversation where people are going to get PO'd about what I'm sharing or what maybe some of the people I'm interviewing are sharing. But that's the point. I want to get people to get into a conversation, to be a catalyst for conversation, to move beyond the way we've been in this weird ass trance about what we think about our body, our shape, our size, and what we weigh. That's what is the spirit of Going Beyond the Scale. So thank you for being here, and I hope to see you guys again at another time. Thanks. Bye-bye.